Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and welcome to my show, Dr. Gaby's Take, Make Life Interesting. A 3-hour drive back home, you kind of put it together, at least as an idea. What happened next?
Well, I got back and I presented the idea to a few people just to kind of see if they thought, because every time you get a new idea, you tell people about it, and the first thing they love to tell you is what's wrong, though this won't work and that won't work. But I started to tell a few people, and everyone started to have the same reaction. Wow, that's a really good idea. You should do that. So my friend Lee works in the web development industry, and so I decided I would go and contact him and see if he could help me put this idea from an idea into reality, and that's what I did. So
Lee, Jason comes to you and says,
he's basically like, Lee, I have a great idea, and I was like, all right, so let me hear what you have to say. So he tells me the idea, and after a few weeks of discussing it, documenting it, mapping it out, we came up with, a great sports news website.
Let's go before then. He tells you about the idea. What was your first impression?
The first thing I thought, I was like, I always have people come to me and they're like, Lee, I have the best idea. I want you to be a partner, so forth and so on. So I hear this all the time. So I never really pursued it because I hear it on a regular basis. And sports news, which is the main, industry that we're targeting, I didn't know much about. I don't really follow sports as much as Jason and every other sports, fan. So I started doing a little research. I'm like, wow, this is a huge industry. I'm like, there's millions upon millions of people. And the biggest thing was that it was international. Not only could we do it, in the United States, we could expand, across the whole world.
So the first idea, when you were thinking about, for example, some local newspapers, all of a sudden became bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm from New York originally, so I all the teams that I follow are up there. So when I'm down, I moved to Florida, and so everything that I want to find, I have to go and look for because it's not here. We don't get the New York newspapers unless I specially order them, and we don't get other things that we don't get the channels on TV that they get up there. So what I have to do is find other ways to do it through Twitter and through the internet, and so that's basically how we got the idea to put everything together. And then once we realized that it didn't exist anywhere else, there was no holding us back from doing it.
So Lee, tell us a little bit about how you did some of that groundwork to figure out if there was something like this already, and
all right, well, the first thing we did was, we started using Google, and we searched throughout, some of the main news sites such as, ESPN, Yahoo, and so forth and so on, and we were like, okay, we like this feature here, we like this over here, we took some ideas from the other existing sites, and we basically evolved it into a bigger, better idea, and we started diagramming it out by hand on paper. We're like, here's the home page, here's the city page, here's the team page, and we literally documented it on a board on paper and drew it out. And then he had to spend hours upon hours finding all the beat writers, all the RSS feeds,
research,
all the Twitter feeds.
We had to research every city that has a major sports team, and we had to find their local radio stations, their local newspaper writers, the newspapers themselves. I mean, any local source that we found we decided would be valuable, we put it in, and we determined value by the size of publications and the amount of followers or fans they had on social networking, and that's how we included some blogs as well as just straight publications, because those, other than just news publications, people like to read other opinions. So we wanted to include that. And in throwing ideas together, we realized how much users like to partake in that. And then we realized that if we can build this on a social media platform, then we really have something different.
So did the idea for the social media platform come from the very beginning, or did it come a little later on when you realized that?
Shortly after. The very first idea was to aggregate all news, and then I think it was actually his idea to create a page where people can choose which teams they want to feed to a specific area. So like if you're like me and you live in Florida and all of your favorite teams are in New York, or you like some teams in Florida and some teams in New York and some teams other places, you can build a page for yourself that filters all of the news into that one spot. So you have your own custom homepage of sports built for yourself, and you can add friends to it so you can see them too. I mean, it's just, we consider it kind of like a sports news community. It's just one area where everybody gets together and sees everything they want.